All right, so this week in Pax Day, we got the cloud update, and not the cloud as in cloud storage, but literally we got clouds in Pax Day. I've never seen more beautiful clouds. Okay, there was actually more to this update as well. We got a lot of different UI changes as well as a bunch of different bug fixes that made it in. We are going to be going over the Pax Dei notes for this week. We also got another update on the other miracles with regards to lore, so we'll cover a little bit of that too. So hello and welcome back, all of you amazingly professional consumers of Pax Dei and Pax Dei related content out there. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and this is another episode of the Pax FriDEI Review, the show where we talk about the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped for Pax Dei over the last week. Like I said, this was the cloud update. We got the coolest clouds I think I have seen in a game yet, but that isn't actually all that we got. While it does improve a lot of things like lighting as well as just the general feel, I think the draw distance has been fixed too. There isn't as much twitchiness with the lighting that we saw before the patch. The game just looks even more beautiful now than it's ever looked before. And on top of that, we also got a whole slew of UI changes that a lot of players in the community are feeling a little bit not very excited about it. And we'll talk about that as well. But before we do that, if you do like this video, please do consider dropping it a like, subscribe so you can get notified whenever we drop new Pax Dei or Pax Dei related content, and share this video with any of your friends who might be interested in learning more about Pax Dei. Things are ramping up and I am liking where we're seeing a lot of this. And congratulations, by the way, to everyone. If you're playing Pax Dei right now, you are a premium player because that's a part of the patch. And I know that's probably going to make some people upset because we are still talking about monetization in pretty much every video from now until the dawn of time. And that's okay because that's what we need to do. Let's go ahead and head over to playpaxday.com to talk about Verse 3 Part 2, which came on August 6th. I will see you over there. All right, and here we are on playpaxday.com. We've got Verse 3 Part 2 coming August 6th. Came August 6th because it is definitely August 8th at the time of recording. As mentioned previously, a new content update is coming this summer. Our current target deployment date is August 6th. So it was deployed, it came out, there was a little bit of issues where the service had to go down and come back up again. We are gonna go through all of the things that are changing. You're gonna notice a lot of UI changes if you haven't already when you dropped into game. And there is a lot of new UI elements. First and foremost, the journal has changed now, where instead of having a giant table with a bunch of different grids that you can get access to, everything is now located on this right-hand side. There's a searchable bar, and you can click through recipes, ingredients, and skills. There is definitely some nice quality of life things here. Like when you select a particular recipe, now you can also see the actual spell that comes with it, in addition to all of the other stats that are assigned to it. However, on the skills section, I do feel like it is a little bit lacking. It is actually quite hard to be able to sort through all of those skills. That's just my own opinion. I'd love to hear what you all think about all the UI changes in the comments down below though. And we also, by the way, are now all premium subscribers to the game. They want to test out all the premium features. So everyone who is currently playing in early access does have that premium tag now applied to them. Yay, you are getting plus 50% to anything from your gold that you're earning to your grace that you're earning and being able to convert and all of that as well. Now, with regards to some other things, you will now in market stalls be able to set public sell options so players can sell things who are coming to your stall. They can sell things on your stall without having to have placed the stall themselves. This is actually a really useful tool because now that means you can set up one stall that people trust and anyone can go and sell on that stall. I am really excited for when we finally get the ability to place buy orders on these stalls. I really hope that that is coming soon. Not in this update though. Also, just a random side note here as well. Zooming in really, really hard. We do have what looks to be something that was not included in the actual update. And maybe this picture was taken on something that maybe it's a different build, but we do have this other icon here. It almost, if you zoom in on it, it does kind of look like it's maybe like a Holy See style seal or something like that. Don't know, but the number 8 implies that it's a pretty small number. So whatever it is, I don't know if it would be maybe a premium currency or something like that. I think it has something to do with PvP because red and PvP just go in hand together. But now we also see some of the different changes when it comes to the UI, and I'll zoom in here and show what it looks like. So these now are the original like pips that we would have in the different tiers. And it is a little confusing because a tier 0 actually now has a pip as opposed to just not having anything or having a single pip. And the counting just seems a little off on these, but I'm sure that that is going to get fixed by a UI engineer designer here in a bit. But this is now what demarks your tier of item. And then over here, you'll see there is this other diamond. And right now it is a common piece of gear with a gray background, but when you have an uncommon piece, then one of these bars is filled and it turns green. If you have a rare, another bar is added and it turns blue, which begs to differ. Is there any kind of other qualities that we're going to be getting access to here in the near future? Because, well, they only have half of this diamond. I would imagine the other half, they wouldn't add it unless there's something else there. Nevertheless, though, we also got a bunch of other various UI updates, which we'll cover when we get to the patch notes. Another notable feature is the ability to get storage at your Petra Day. So it'll start with 20 slots, but you can expand it up to a maximum of 80. You do have to spend a one-time grace cost in order to get the unlock at the altars. So this is a altar-specific unlock as well, meaning if you unlock something inside of Rets, it's going to be different when you go to Lidaw or some other area, some other home valley. You'll be able to get an additional. So theoretically, if you are at a home valley that's next to 2 other home valleys, you can get up to 240 different storage slots between them with a little light jog in between. Then here's the big change that is probably going to be the most noticeable. And holy crap, look at just the sheer volumetric clouds that we have to view here. And they have a lot of spice-ridden pictures here of just really awesome shots from all of this volumetric fog and the cloud cover. And it actually makes the Pale a little bit more bearable. It's not just completely dark and non-transparent fog. You can actually see through it. It makes it seem kind of eerie. You're getting a lot of these god beams everywhere, but man, when the sun rises and there are clouds, it looks so cool right now. And also a lot of the home valleys now have these like low-lying bits of fog, especially around forested areas, and it just looks so freaking cool. I don't know how you all know, as you've noted down in the comments many a time, that I am a fanboy of Pax Dei, but this is just another level. So next thing, they do talk about markets and how they're adding public permissions to market stalls. When a market stall owner cancels a sell order from another player, the items are returned to the redeeming queue of the owner of the sell order instead of to the inventory of the market stall owner. So that is an important thing for that. They also introduced a new notification system. A lot of players are actually a little kind of frustrated over this one because of where the notifications are showing up. So when, like, for example, when you loot something or when someone invites you to a party, it's showing up almost in the middle, slightly to the right side of the screen. It would be way better if it was all the way over to to the right-hand side and was just overlapping with some other UI when it popped up or something. But right in the middle of the screen, especially when you're in the middle of fighting and you're looting stuff, and it gets in the way. It gets in the way. And also the loot is now side scroll, or from bottom to top, it scrolls going vertically as you loot more stuff or you get XP. In addition to that, XP is now displayed slightly different as well. What I mean by that is, yes, when you kill an individual enemy, it's going to show how much XP that individual enemy gave you. But once the fight is done and your combat timer turns off, it's going to sum all of that together and then add all of the individual pieces that you were wearing at that time together with that sum, and then it's going to tell you a number. So you'll actually notice that it seems like you're getting a lot more XP. You're not actually getting any more XP than you used to. The difference is that all of your individual pieces are now being summarized and added together at the very end of a combat. So if you kill 5 things, I've gotten it all the way up to over 12,000 XP in one go. I have some friends who were able to get it up to over 25K in a single combat. So they were just constantly fighting and fighting and fighting, and never had a chance to actually proc that their XP bar was showing up. So that was actually a fun little challenge that we've started doing. And then obviously what I mentioned before, the premium status is now live, where you get plus 50% grace from your daily login and plus 50% grace from your gold offerings, as well as plus 50% XP on all activities. Again, when I originally shared a video talking about this, the plus 50% XP doesn't mean you're leveling twice as fast. It is slower than twice as fast, approximately 50% slower, actually. Then we have our patch notes. So the patch notes break it down entirely as to everything that was changed with regards to the HUD and all of the different inventories that exist across all of the different home valleys. These are all just different things. They also fixed an issue where the E key has for split stack in the split stack window is non-functional, and a lot of things, there were some, including the grace menu, being able to click for exchange for grace. You wouldn't be able to use the button based on the key press. You'd have to actually go click the button or vice versa. They fixed a lot of those things. We already covered everything that they changed with the market, as well as the journal. They had some major improvements with how different recipes are being displayed, which is a really welcome change. They made a couple of VFX improvements, especially with regards to the staff. There's now a flashbang on the Zephyr staff. It is the Q ability, and it is hilarious. It looks really cool, but it feels kind of like a flashbang. It's kind of funny. But either way, we also got an update to Ironroot Grasp so that it's working against players the same way that it works against NPCs. In terms of the world, obviously we got all of this really, really cool fog and weather effects as well. They fixed multiple slight misalignments of water in the northeastern parts of Innisgallia. That was a little weird. You end up swimming in something that doesn't look like you're swimming at all, or you're not swimming in something that you should. Then they also fixed a couple of big rock formations which had collision issues, and they were appearing too close to roads, so it was obstructing things. Some other miscellaneous things that they changed in addition to getting the premium status for all players to be able to test. They also reduced leather roughness globally. They improved some different VFX. Wool fiber is now brighter and matches its 3D model. Just a lot of general miscellaneous changes. Nothing too crazy of note. However, I would like to say, after running a couple of dungeons over the last couple of days, it feels to me like there is an improvement in the drop rates of a couple of things. Before the update, when we would run a dungeon like Plisson, we were only getting maybe a handful of Crimson Leashes, a handful of Red Runic Leashes, and a handful of Yellow Runic Leashes, or the same thing for like different types of worms, the bloated, mottled, and gadfly. However, now after the update, like last night on our main dungeon run, we were walking out of there with 23 bloated worms, 15 crimson runic leash. It was a very sizable difference. Maybe we were just being lucky, though. Some people are saying it seems like the drop rates have improved, as well as the named mobs. We walked out of that dungeon last night. We were only there for 2 hours, and we got 9 different named mobs that spawned during that time, as opposed to normally it was about half, if not. Sometimes we would leave the dungeon with only 1 or 2 sigils from a 2-hour run. Now we're leaving with close to 10. So it feels like some stuff was changed there. Maybe those were some ghost updates that weren't really mentioned here, though. But also some known issues on the topic of dungeons. 2 different things. One, there are instances where when players die, especially in a dungeon, it becomes impossible to revive yourself. You never get the revival notification. The best way to fix that, based on our own observation, is you log out of the game, you close it, you restart your client, and then you will immediately be able to get that notification and pop back up. That is the best and easiest fix around until they actually address it, though it is a known issue. They say that it is a sometimes thing. However, it is actually, there was a dungeon that we ran earlier this week, and it was pretty much almost every player that died. A lot of F8s were written for it, so hopefully they are able to make that correction really quickly. In addition to that, it does seem like there's a little bit of a mob attraction issue or threat generation issue in dungeons, where the entire dungeon is being pulled to the front of a dungeon or wherever a concentration of players are. It seems like it has a connection with players who are dead, and maybe they're generating too much threat, or something is going on where an entire dungeon is being pulled. That also is, I'm pretty sure, a known issue as well. But for the most part, they are aware of a lot of different things going on with the spells. A lot, actually, of broken... There's some healing spells that are broken, like the F keys are not working for the single target heals, where they do if you point and click. So there's a lot of fixes that are going to be coming, hopefully, in the next week, I feel like, with all of these different issues that are going to be addressed. That is all that we have to talk about today for the patch notes. Again, loving how the game is looking. Great that we're getting some updates to the UI, though I do feel like there are some major rooms for improvement. There are also some major wins in there. Specifically, I really, really like that now you can see what everything does when you're looking at a recipe, and you can see the stats and all of that as well. That's a massive improvement from where we were before. And I do like that it's keeping a lot of what the player's doing on the screen rather than creating a whole new page and you're just scrolling through a bunch of random menus. Now we're going to head over and take a look at the 2 miracles for today. Pretty cool. We've got maybe someone making a guest appearance from the Harry Potter series. I'll let you be the judge, but I'll see you over there. And here we are on the Pax Dei official Discord, and we've got Saint Ephrosinia as well as Saint Flamel. Maybe Saint Flamel's first name was Nicholas Flamel. You might recognize that name from the Harry Potter series as the one and only individual to have found out how to transmute the Philosopher's Stone. And yes, it is also mentioned here. But first, we'll talk about Saint Ephrosinia, the patroness saint of cooks. So she started off her life as a nun, and specifically from Anatolia during the end of the Elysian Age, and ended up ending her career with Armazel and his army of light. I would imagine her demise ended somewhere underneath a particular Mount Medulla, being led by Armazel into the deep dark depths where they were never seen again. But here it says, Saint Ephrosinia, bless my hands and my table and my hearth, that patience may flavor every meal, and that all who share in it may be strengthened in body and spirit. So again, yeah, patroness, Saint of the cooks. Time is the quietest seasoning of the divine. So the important little takeaway here is patience makes all good components of a recipe. Then we have Saint Flamel, and he is the patron saint of alchemists. Also, I love his title, Saint Flamel, the happily married. However, his patron sainthood is primarily based off of a followership from alchemists west of Axis Mundi, which would place them in Gallia predominantly. So I wonder if the eastern borders of Axis Mundi, the alchemists don't like him because it's Saint Flamel, the happily unmarried, or something like that. But either way, here it says, Saint Flamel, guide my hands in spirit that I may find the true essence within each element and transmute labor into light. So it is said to be that specifically Saint Flamel was the first to concoct the divine coagulate known as the Philosopher's Stone. The recipe, of course, has long been lost, though I do like the quote here, seek not gold, but the spirit that transmutes it. So really awesome couple of little lore posts here about the various saints. Again, will be great when we get these bits of context into the game, and obviously this is a major teaser. This isn't the first time. If you're an old channel member, you'll know that we've talked about the Philosopher's Stone before. In fact, it's something that's been mentioned by the devs directly during interviews in the past. I think that that's going to be in the game at some point. Maybe it has something to do with enchanting or something like that. I don't know. But either way, really exciting to see it being teased yet again. Hopefully you all enjoyed this episode today. I know I really love recording these, and I couldn't do it without our channel members who are financially supporting the channel as well. So I want to just hand out a special thank you to all of you channel members. I appreciate what you do for the channel. But if you do like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe so you can be notified whenever we come out with new Pax Dei or Pax Dei related content, and share this with any of your friends who are interested in learning more about Pax Dei. There is a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out over the next several months when it comes to more Pax Dei and Pax Dei related information. The release is slated for the end of fall currently, or the end of autumn, which will be somewhere around the beginning of December. We're going to start getting a lot more information. I can feel it. I can feel it at my fingertips. So I am excited to be covering it and going through all of that with all of you. So until the next video, I'm Altari, the Professional Gamer.